But when I pray, I don't pray for healing for myself. I pray for strength so that I can heal myself.
Welcome to the FocalFlip podcast. Every week we take a deep dive into the mystery and stigma behind mental health and explore real-life stories of struggle and triumph. We aim to educate and encourage others as we bring together a diverse group of guests. From the streets to sanctuaries, classrooms to boardrooms, mental health does not discriminate, neither do we. Prepare to laugh, prepare to cry, prepare to be changed. Let's get into it.
Hey everybody, welcome to 52.7. I'm your host, Pat Morgan, and today I have a wonderful guest, a new friend.
Hello.
Hi, Santrina Fletcher, and she has a wonderful story to share with us. We're grateful that everybody's here, and we're just going to get started. We're just going to chat.
Okay.
We are
good.
at the Black Goose in Union, Kentucky, so thanks to Josh for letting us use his space. It's a wonderful place, so come on out if you have some time for coffee. All right, Santrina, so maybe just share about the beginning of your story, and just tell the audience, what's going on. What started this whole story of your
of survival and success with health. So, the story begins. Let's go back to October of 22. So, I'm of the age where mammograms are recommended, right? So I get my mammogram and it says I have dense breast tissue, but everything else is normal, right? A few months later, I feel lumps in my breast, my left breast. I feel 2 of them. And I blew it off because I previously had something called fibrocystic breast disease, right? Okay. So that's basically lumps in the breast that are from caffeine and other things, right? So I chalked it off as that because my mammogram was negative. So a few months later, my annual visit comes along and I call my primary care doctor. He recommends that I do an ultrasound and a mammogram. Well, that was last November, and that's when I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. Okay. The diagnosis was a shock. I have no genetic predisposition. And upon further testing, I found out it was my bones, so it was metastatic disease. Okay. So I'm a year into it. Although I just was diagnosed last year, I am already considered in remission.
Oh, praise the Lord for that.
Amen to that.
Amen. Exactly. Good news for that. When I think about what that moment is like, and I have several friends, and I myself walked cancer with my husband, so I kind of have walked in those shoes as well. But that first moment when you hear that, how do you process news like that?
I'm really glad you asked that because, obviously people think it's bad news and it's hard to swallow, but you go through all of the parts of grief. Mm-hmm. Although you're not losing someone at that moment, you still have the sadness, right. You still have the anger, denial. There's almost like a barter that goes on, like, oh my gosh, if I could do something for someone and then maybe I can be, you know what I mean? Right. There's so many parts of that news process. Right. And, I've given speeches before where, I have to explain that when I get up in the morning, the news is fresh again, right? As I'm sure you know, you wake up in the morning and, reality hits you.
My life is not what I thought it would be. No. Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Even though time lapses, you still wake up in the morning and all of that comes back. The anger, the grief, the why me, the sadness. So you kind of go through all that, and that cycle kind of gets a little better. It will never go away. But the news, then you have to kind of spin it to something positive. It's going to happen. You're going to wake up and that news is going to hit you again, right? Right. But you have to spin it around for something positive, and that's what I did.
Well, when I've been working through my own grief and it's been 4 years, close to 4 years now for me. I realize and recognize, because I have several friends walking through different forms of cancer. And the process always is obviously part of it. And like you said, it's a daily renewal of, okay, here's a new day. But I talk a lot about the process and turning that process into purpose. So what's my purpose today?
Yes.
God, what do you have for me today?
Yes.
And I know you have just done a phenomenal job.
Oh.
And I've just followed you a little bit and see that you're just definitely getting the word out.
Yes.
So.
You do have to spin it, and after you wake up and you hear or you think of the news again, then you have to turn it to, how can I take this news and better my life, and then also better the lives of others, right? Because when you are given medication that has massive side effects, let's say chemotherapy or a high dose of steroid, you don't feel like doing much, right? So it's hard to be motivated. So you always need social connection and prayer and things like that to keep you motivated. I was very lucky because I have an amazing group of friends who pulled together right away and got me out of that bed and said, you're going to be okay. We're praying for you. I would go to church and a stranger will walk up to me and said, Santrina, I'm praying for you. Wow. Wow. So that's motivating to me. And if everybody would just reach out to one of their friends or if they're alone, and just reach out to one person that says, I need some prayers, I need some help, I need some meals, whatever, you will not believe the amount of people who kind of come around and try to help you out.
Yeah, I think asking for help was very difficult for my husband and for me.
Yes.
And accepting, like accepting all of these people that want to do something.
Yeah.
They really want to help you. And honestly, I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I really didn't know what to ask for at the beginning. And those people that come up and just do it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a blessing it is.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, sometimes it's like, oh, I didn't know I needed that, but hey, I needed that.
Right, exactly.
And sometimes it is just a text or
little tiny
things.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it got to a point where so many people were delivering meals, presents, best wishes, all that stuff, that it was almost like a revolving door at the house, which is great. I was blessed. And then another friend came up with an idea to leave a cooler out on the porch with a little note that says, thank you so much for stopping by. Whatever your purpose is much appreciated by Santrina and her family. We just wish to be, left alone at this point. And people respected that. So even if you want to help, you can do it in a very discreet manner. I think the cooler on the porch is the answer to that.
I actually have a friend who created a Google Doc on his calendar, like Google Calendar, and people would just pop in there.
Yeah.
And if he was, if they were busy on a day, he would just block that day off.
Yeah.
But at first I was like, well, that's interesting, and it's been great. It's been a really good asset for them and for the people who want to help.
People oftentimes don't know what to do to help.
Right.
And a lot of times it's, what can I do for you? Well, you're never going to get an answer back. So my whole thing is taking cancer awareness and turning it into cancer action. So my points, even Lauren watching my daughter for a few hours during the day to play with her kids so that I can get some rest or go to an appointment or something. That kind of stuff, although they may not think it's a huge deal, is huge to the person.
Right?
So like watching people's kids, making a meal, but be careful with this, because when people get sick or die, here's a lasagna, right?
Our refrigerator was full.
Exactly. And the thing is, the refrigerator gets full. You get 12 lasagnas, and it's not the best thing to eat when you're sick, right? So you cut down on the Costco bill. Don't get it's fine. Now, if you want to give them maybe some fruit or some fresh fruit, maybe something a little healthier, some green teas.
Yeah, I do know a lot of people cut sugar out completely. That's like one of the first things, right?
100%. Yes. So I happen to have just ended oncology nutrition courses, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it was like a 4-semester program. And then I have to take the certification exam. So when I was diagnosed, I turned awareness into action. I read a lot of books, and I enlisted in this oncology nutrition program because it's needed. When you ask the oncologist, what should I be eating? You know what the answer was? Eat what you want. Just don't lose weight.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
So you're out there getting educated.
So I'm getting educated. I'm like, that is completely
That's not
the
a good
case.
answer.
Yeah.
Right.
And, to his, I mean,
Right.
doctors do not have the time to learn everything about
Right.
nutrition. They do not have the time. They have 5 minutes with people, right?
Right.
There's no way they can go into nutrition.
Right.
And it's not even the obvious stuff. It's not just eat a salad and drink water. There's so much more to it. It's very intricate. So with this program, it's a specific kind of cancer, okay? Then, so breast cancer, there's several different types of breast cancer. And then you dive into the person itself. What foods are you eating now? Who are you around? What do you do for a living? Are you around toxic chemicals? You have to consider all these things when you develop a nutrition plan for them. So the plan that I will have for people is very individualized. It will go along with their chemo or their pill or their whatever they're doing to help them with side effects, to help them heal. And everything that I've learned through this program, from fasting to staying away from pork, guess where that advice is? The Bible.
Oh, wow.
There are things, if you pay attention to what the Bible is saying and what to eat, it reflects what this program is. So if we went by what God wanted us to eat from the beginning of time, we would be okay. Yeah. So we've gotten away from paying attention to those things, and they say fasting for religious purposes, but really I think the intention was to keep us healthy.
Interesting.
I think that was the indirect sign that said you have to eat from the earth, you have to eat clean, fast, because when you fast, your cells heal. Yeah. Right?
Well, nutrition is definitely a hot topic in the United States right now. I mean, it is huge.
The whole Kellogg's thing,
right.
It's exciting. They're about to hopefully ban red dyes from food. That's huge because neurological issues are skyrocketing, like MS, autism is skyrocketing, cancer is skyrocketing. There's a link. If you see the way industrialization of food, the more goop in the food, and then the line is pretty much parallel with that goopy food with cancer and other diagnosis, right? Oh, wow. So it almost all links to our food. Wow. It's really, really scary. And, skincare too. There's toxic stuff in our skincare. So that's why I've cleaned out everything.
You own Derma Lounge, right?
I do. So it is like a med spa.
Okay.
And I actually didn't have skincare. I didn't carry skincare until recently because I was so particular about what was in it and the cost of it. We did a major medical brand very first. It had toxic ingredients and it was too expensive for people. People wouldn't buy it, right? And so got rid of that. And we went with that. We were a med spa that went without skincare for almost 5 years. Oh, wow. And that's huge because that's a big seller, right? But I just didn't feel like it was right. But finally I found somewhere actually outside of the United States who has more regulations on that to come up with our private label. So it's stuff that's already out there, but we put our Derma Lounge label on it. So it's a lot cleaner. So yeah, we're really excited about that. It's what I use. I've changed my laundry detergent. I've changed the soap that I use for dishwasher. You got to clean it out. The candles that we use, everything is so impactful. So I can't wait not only to teach people about nutrition, but to teach them how to clean up their entire household and what to do.
I need some of those lessons.
All right. And then the list of people that are calling me up and texting me and say, hey, I have a friend with cancer, my cousin or my brother or my father. And it's inundating because it's happening to everybody. And the way we have to think about this is, everybody technically has cancer cells. It's whether or not our body can handle fighting it.
Gotcha.
Right? That's scary.
It is scary.
But the good news, since this is a good news podcast, is that we have more control over those things than what we thought.
So you've made a choice to respond to your diagnosis in a way that's proactive action. What do you call it? Cancer action.
Cancer action.
Cancer action.
We're all aware of cancer.
Right.
Right.
We're touched by it for sure.
Forget the ribbon.
Yeah.
Let's do cancer action. Let's start doing something about it as opposed to just being aware of it.
Right.
So things that people can do include supporting those with cancer, whether it's giving them a ride to their appointment, watching their child, volunteering at a cancer event.
Now, St. Elizabeth they are really promoting the integrative oncology unit, where they are, they offer yoga, the nutrition classes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what all they have there, but I know that they have a whole, wing devoted to this wholeness.
Yeah.
And you talked about connections and making those connections. And I think that is a key to our treatment and the walk that you walk when you go through cancer as a caregiver or as the patient.
Yes.
And as the doctors and the nurses and the staff at in any hospital.
Absolutely.
Making those connections and relationship building is so key to that. So I think it's amazing that right here in our local, area, we have a place like St. Elizabeth who's, like you said, volunteer. Like, if we could just get out there and
absolutely
get the young people. Even like at Ryle, there's I was substituting, and there's a class they're doing pre-med, and all these kids are in there wanting to do, they want to be doctors or nurses or in the medical field. And I'm like, you guys should, go volunteer at St. E. And they're like, what? We can do that? Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
So just building these relationships within our community is key.
That's perfect. Yeah. I'm looking forward to. I'm going to talk to Dr. Flores and the team and see what I can do to help there as well.
Yeah.
Because I know that they've helped my family with a lot of things. So
definitely welcome the help, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you have a book.
Yeah, so this is one of the very first books I've read. I think when I got diagnosed, I probably read 150 books and read studies and doing all this, right? So I felt like this one was most impactful because Kelly Turner, she's a PhD. She interviewed probably hundreds, if not thousands, of cancer survivors. And we're talking about stage 3, stage 4. So it's not just stage 3, got the chemo and was healed. These are people who had radical remission. In fact, that was the name of the book, Radical Remission, Surviving Cancer Against All Odds. So she discovered that there were 9 things that folks had in common who survived. So I'm going to list off the 9 things in common. If I can find the page, which I'm about to. Okay. So one is radically change your diet, right? We know this. That's why I took the course, right? Yes. Taking control of your health. Not just listening to what the doctors are saying, but ask the questions to them. What does this mean? What are the side effects? What are my other options? Following your intuition. If you feel like something is not right, it's probably not right. You got to follow the signs.
Yeah.
Using herbs and supplements. All right, I'm on probably 10, 12 different supplements because I'm not getting it through my food. And these supplements are very helpful to helping fight cancer, right? Releasing suppressed emotions. So
mental health and
well-being.
You can
go scream in the shower.
Yes.
Do it. There's a lot of, I feel like stress was definitely a part of my cause of cancer. I know that you can't put a finger on it, right?
I say that about my husband. He was under so much stress all the time. Like, it's just not healthy.
So that's why, you got to get with your friends and go to a coffee house and just talk it out or something so that, your life improves. Increasing positive emotions, staying positive. It's hard when you're on medications and side effects to stay positive, but you have to imagine yourself in a few years being healthy, right? You just have to picture yourself that way.
Visualizing.
Embracing social support. It's okay to ask for help and it's okay to receive help. It's, from someone who's a giver all the time, it's hard to accept it, but trust me, people want to help.
Right.
They're not just asking just to ask, they want to help. Right. Having strong reasons for living, right? So, gosh, I want to live for my daughter, right? My daughter's 9. I've got to be around when she's a teenager because who knows what's going to happen, right? As
Right.
you know, a school teacher, I'm sure you understand where
Right.
I'm coming from. It's getting harder and harder for kids, and you know, I want to make sure she has her mommy around to help her through those, especially teen years, all that stuff. And the last, I don't know if I went through all 8, but I feel like one of the most important on the list is deepening your spiritual connection. Okay, praying, go to church,
Yeah.
study the Bible, because this will help with all
Everything
of
else.
the other things. So that's the base of that. And I'll tell you, when, you know, I am a churchgoer. I've been going to church for 2 years now, meaning religiously, no
Right.
pun intended.
Religiously.
I got jokes. And then, you know, I will continue obviously going to church. But when I pray, I don't pray for healing for myself. I pray for strength so that I can heal myself, right?
That's
We
good.
have a lot more power than we think. And if we use God, help me find this, because you have blessed me with what I can do with
Right.
my body, with my soul. You are leading me.
Right.
So give me that strength so that I can get through this treatment. I can get through this hard time. I can get through this pain, whatever is going through. So that is the base of everything.
Right. And
So-
he is there.
Oh,
I watched my husband's testimony was, don't wait.
okay.
He said
Okay.
as soon as he got his diagnosis, like, he was just like, okay, I've got to dig my heels in. I really need a relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
We go to church. We took our kids to church. That's just part of our family story. We went to church.
Yeah.
But as far as a relationship with Christ, Ted didn't really have it. Like the closeness, like he's my best friend.
Yeah.
That relationship,
Yeah.
he didn't have it
Yeah.
until he asked for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He wanted to know God so real. And yes, it took a diagnosis to make him like
Yeah.
go, whoa,
Yeah.
wait, I'm not invincible.
Yeah.
You know? And he lived for 14 months believing he was going to be completely healed.
Okay.
And he was healed of so many things.
Yeah.
Like just, he just, his whole like being of who he was changed because of his love for the Lord.
Yeah.
And he's healed. He's in heaven.
Absolutely.
And he's healed.
Absolutely.
And we still are sharing his message.
Yes.
You know, we're
Good.
still sharing his testimony. But you're right, faith, I mean, God just carried him through that.
Yeah.
And gave us all the strength, and still
Yes.
is.
Yes.
So
I am less scared now having faith, right? It's, you know, I don't want to die. You know,
Right.
I'm trying not to. But I'm not as scared of it.
right.
You know, and I feel like I need to make an impact. As long as I'm doing the right things and I'm healing, I feel like I have the power to impact so many other people.
Yes.
You know, I've started a nonprofit. We're raising money. We're in the very beginning phases of it.
So your nonprofit, what's
Yeah.
it called?
It's called the Santrina Strong Foundation.
I like that.
And
Santrina Strong.
our mission is to help people get oncology nutrition consultations for free, and then also give them an opportunity for holistic treatments, maybe yoga or acupuncture or Reiki or something outside of the box that's they've always wanted to do or might be healing for them. I can either pair them with someone locally, or they can choose something. So we have like X amount allotted for each individual. And so there is going to be a nomination process, but I'm hoping to reach as many people as possible. So right now we're in the fundraising process. Right now I think we have about $7,000 in our bank account to start helping people. Got to get a website up and running,
Right.
all that stuff.
All the stuff.
We do have the social media at Santrina Strong Foundation.
Okay.
If people want to start following, just to kind of get updates
Yeah.
on that.
For sure.
And I'm sure we'll have a lot of fundraisers around Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area soon, just to raise some funds to help people.
Okay, so right now you're in remission. Is that what?
Yeah, that
And
is.
you are
the doctor said many of the lesions that are in my bones are gone.
Praise the Lord.
I no longer feel the masses in my breasts. I feel better overall. I think a lot of that has to do with the nutrition part.
Fighting it.
And the doctor said this is unusual for this time frame. So I'm following all the steps, all 9 of them.
Right.
And this was a huge, and I call it a blessing, because had I not changed, I would have died of a heart attack, right? Because I was so stressed. And now I am living life. I'm enjoying wrapping gifts. Right after here, I'm gonna wrap presents for my daughter. And before I was like, oh, I gotta wrap gifts, but now I'm like, I get to wrap gifts.
I get it. That's mindset, right? That is a focal flip, people, right there. Focal flip.
That's right. That's right.
And 52/7, 52 weeks out of the year, 7 days a week, we get to. We get to. We get to love, we get to bless, we get to live.
Yep.
And gosh, thank you so much for sharing.
My pleasure.
Oh, I'm so excited to continue to follow you and help you along the way. I'd love to join in on the journey.
Okay, let's do it.
And yeah, we'll help each other.
I'm taking you with me.
All right, well, I guess that's it for 52/7 and Santrina Strong, everybody. Santrina Strong.
Okay, you ready to wrap this thing up?
If you like FocalFlip's videos, my dad's videos, go to YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, and like and subscribe to be updated.
I love it.